Alright, so today in the Rusted Nuts garage, I'll be working on my 2000 Subaru Outback. Last night on my way home from work, my rear brakes blew out on me, so I did a quick diagnosis. I stepped on the brakes a few times in a clean spot in my garage and found out where the fluid was leaking from. Then got under there with the flashlight and noticed that it was up beside the fuel tank. So there's a couple ways you can go about this. One is you can remove the rear cross member and drop the gas tank and fix it correctly, which is the course of action you probably should do because it will definitely be better, but this thing is on its way to the junkyard anyway. If I get one more winter out of it, I'll be happy. So basically, where it's leaking is underneath the back seat. The brake lines run through the frame to the back, and then underneath this here protective plate, which is bolted over the two brake lines there, and down underneath into the gas tank area. Let's see if I can get that on camera. It's kind of hard to see, but maybe when I move it, it'll become more visible. Anyway, there's a union or a splitter down there. There, yeah. See, it's broken down there. So what I'm going to do is bypass it at the seat to the rear brakes using brake line, and I believe I'm going to go right into the flex lines with it, and these compression unions. So basically I'm going to cut the brake lines above where they're rusted out, add one of these 3/16 compression unions and some steel brake line. I'm not sure if I got the right thread on these because I was on my break at work and was rushing, so I'm really hoping I did because I don't really want to have to go back, but I'll give it a try and see if I can help somebody else out. I have gone ahead and sprayed the sprayed all the fittings that I'm going to be undoing with a little penetrating oil to hopefully loosen them up. I don't imagine they're going to come off very easily. This car is definitely a Canadian Rusty Special. I believe it was somebody's field car before I decided it was better than the car I was actually driving, because it was actually supposed to be my parts car. So, you know, without any further ado, we'll get to getting these back brakes fixed and hopefully helping you out with your own project. Alright, so it really wasn't nice about taking this apart because I don't really care for this car very much anymore. It's basically just my dump truck because I have to take my garbage to the dump using it. So in order to get to the spot where the brake lines are going down through the floor, you will find this little piece of rope attached to this lever on your seat and pull your seat forward. Don't mind all the garbage in my back seat because it's pretty messy. And then you're going to take this piece of trim, and it's got a little fastener that you can pull out. I just broke it because I didn't have time to mess around with it and just ripped it right out. Then it has two more clips like that. One there. Maybe three clips. Anyway, take that off, and then you get to your brake lines that are going through your floor. Now, as you can see, that is severely corroded and broken right off. So I'm surprised it didn't let go any sooner, but and the rest of it really doesn't look nice. So I'm probably just going to redo the back lines from there. I'm not exactly sure. I'm guessing if you wanted to do your full line, you'd pull up the carpet all the way to the master cylinder, because it looks like it runs along the floor inside the car. I could be wrong though, and I'm not going to get that deep into it. So I do have pipe cutter on here, and basically I'm just going to cut it off here and then use one of those fittings to so what you do is you just keep winding it around and it's going to cut through that. Now this is probably not a good way to fix it, just saying, but it's like I said, I'm not planning on keeping this car anyway. I picked it up for 900 bucks. I've put 200,000 kilometers or more on it, and I've spent about $4,000 in repairs in the last 3 years, which is pretty good considering I redid the head gaskets, the timing belt, the water pump, new clutch. I've rebuilt 2 drive shafts for it, and other stuff like spark plugs and wires and new coil packs and whatnot. So should be almost through here. Oh, there we go. So that's how you're going to do that, and it should cut a beautiful end with no burrs or anything, so that you can put those fittings onto nicely. And I'm going to do the other one off camera, and then we'll see where we go from there. Alright, so here's where I'm at. I used the flashlight to I basically put the flashlight over the hole, went underneath the car, and passed the brake line up through the hole. It wasn't really easy to find, but either way, you just push it and then come up and you'll find it at the top, and then pull it through. So then I connected it to the fitting here and tightened it up. And that made it so that it was a little bit more rigid, so I could bend it into shape to run it to this flange here. And so it goes into the flange, down to the flex line. So the only part that I'm personally concerned with at all will be this pressure fitting or compression fitting. And so on this side I have basically the same thing, and to get these stubborn fittings undone, I took one pair of vice grips and locked it onto there, and then I took the other pair and locked it on the flange. I'm not worried, or onto the flare nut. I'm not concerned about damaging the flare nut because I'm just going to run a whole new brake line to that anyway. But that's basically the setup that I'm going to go with. But there are some other things that concern me. I mean, this brake line right here, right there, is pretty rusty. I don't know why it won't focus. There, it's pretty rusty, but that's only a small piece to replace in the future, given that it will definitely blow out eventually. Just hopefully I'm close to home again. Alright, so I used a pair of needle nose pliers because I got it up to where I could see it with the flashlight when I looked in the hole, and now I've got the vice grips on there just holding the flare that I'm going to be cutting off anyway. So it doesn't fall back in while I manipulate the brake line to give enough line to hook into the other fitting. So I guess here we go. Alright, so with this compression fitting, you slide first the nut and then the brass sleeve, and then this end goes on. And then you thread those together and tighten it up with 2 wrenches. And the same goes for the other side, connecting this piece of line to that piece. And it should provide a leak-free seal. Alright, so there it is, hooked up to the flex line going down to the brake caliper. And that's essentially what it looks like under the seat. It's not that nice looking, but it'll work definitely. No leaks. I've already done the brake bleed. No leaks yet, anyway. I mean, we'll see through regular driving what happens. I'm not sure if I want to reinstall this cover yet, or if I want to just check and make sure that these fittings stay tight and don't leak. We'll see. Up. Or down.
Oh, down. It is all the way down.
Push it all the way?
I can.
Okay. It must not be open enough. Wait, just let me... Yeah, well, I'm guessing that inside the caliper, because I got some rust coming out of there, that, it's just got to flush that out first. Because, I mean, these were pretty rusty. Down.
Half down again. And feel like it's moving down.
Does it feel better now?
Yeah, that's like slowly moving down.
Yep. Is it down?
Yeah.
Down. Is it going slow still?
Yeah.
Is that better? After this one, I gotta check the level of the brake fluid. Down. It's not moving very easy, is it?
No, it's going down.
Okay.
Not very easy, yeah.
I'm just waiting for it to break free. Like, I'm not getting any air bubbles, which is good. But it's supposed to, like, kind of shoot out like a squirt gun. Up.
Hump on the road, yeah.
Down. Still, eh? Oh, there we go. It's down now?
Yeah. I use my muscles.
Alright, one thing to note about when putting your wheels back on, to go in a star pattern and not to use a good quality impact. This impact is basically a glorified drill, so it won't even come close to breaking wheel studs. It's just, this one helps put them on faster. So, first one, second one, third one, and I always use a torque wrench to tighten my wheels, and then after about 100 kilometers of driving, I recheck them, and every now and again I just check them anyway because I've had a wheel stud come loose and just disappear on me. So hopefully that'll help you.